Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this video. Thanks so much for clicking on my channel. My name is Ems, and today we are going to jump right into it, wasting no time at all. I wanted to do a battle of the eyeshadow palettes. So recently I have bought a few Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes, and I know they're super expensive. So I really wanted to put them to the test to see how they compare if I create a look using Pat McGrath shadows and then create the same look on the other eye using a mixture of other palettes I already own, and seeing if there truly is a difference or if the Pat McGrath is just so much better that it's worth its hefty price tag. So we are about to find out. Okay, so right away, similar to the mattes on the other Pat McGrath palette I did a few tutorials ago or reviews ago, I'm finding that when I put this down, it doesn't move very much. But remember, that's a good thing because that usually means you're gonna get a lot less fallout, which is what I'm finding thus far. So the Pat McGrath mattes, although they are softer in this palette than the other palette, I'm finding that kind of similarly, they don't spread particularly well, like easily, but they don't, like, they're not patchy or weird. They're coming on really nicely. The pigment is very strong, but it's not giving me fallout, which is fantastic. So that's actually a really good thing. It's a good quality to have in a shadow to not have fallout. But obviously because of the lack of like movement, I am having to dip in and put on and dip in and put on and dip in and put on. Okay, so right away what I will tell you is that these are also not giving me any fallout, which is fantastic, even though these are much softer. However, can you see what I mean by the weird lines? So I'm getting the weird lines right there. I also know, because I double primed, that those primers will make things stick to them more, but I don't have the weird lines over here with Pat McGrath. I do have them over here. I know that that probably has to do with the fact that these shadows are softer. It's fluffing a different way, I don't know, which then is causing those lines. Nothing that's impossible to fix, but just a difference. Just gonna really work that area to fix those lines. And the lines are gone. So again, nothing super difficult to fix by any means, just a little bit of difference between how one performs versus the other. And I know, again, the primer is also doing things. The other side of it, I'm not having to put as much product down because these are softer, so they're spreading a little bit more easily. But so, you know, give and takes. I put a little bit more product down really just because I'm trying to get the color match. Okay, so I feel like the color match is pretty decent, but I do feel like it looks stronger on this side than on this side, so I'm gonna have to add more product over here. Okay, yay! I feel like the color match is good. Please ignore my crazy nails. I don't know why I have to say that every video. I swear I feel like I do my nails all the freaking time. Okay, I'm gonna put this over here on the outside. Very, very pretty, like pumpkin-y shade. I'm going into this High Class Pressed Pigment from Morphe. I think that's the closest thing to that shade color. So it's this shade right here. It feels really similar. It actually looks really similar too. So that's Pat McGrath. This is Morphe. Obviously there's a slight shade difference on as I'm putting them on, and as they are completely on par with each other. Only time will tell. Okay, so like this shade and this shade from Pat McGrath are so similar, especially once you put them on. I mean, honestly, they look almost identical. Huh, interesting. They look so similar. Okay, interesting. This is the scariest part because I don't think these shades are gonna match. I thought the other shade was going to be lighter, so I'm gonna try this one. I guess we'll find out. That went on so quickly. Wow. Okay, again, very similar, so it actually works out. It's not too off one from the other. It's a little off, but it's hopefully nothing where people are gonna be like, what the hell's going on there? You know what I mean? Performance-wise, honestly, pigment-wise, how strong they are, how pretty and shimmery they are, all of that, exactly the same as of right now. So, all right, so for the inner corner, I wanted to jump into this, can you guys see, this shade up here. Oh, that's so pretty. That is a massive sparkle. I thought I might be able to replicate that with this from the Friendcation palette. I don't think it's going to, because my memory of this one is that it's very sheer. It's almost like a topper. Okay, not like better than I thought it would be. Definitely not the same, so I'm gonna have to look for something else to put over here. Overall vibe is very similar, but I feel like that is throwing it all off just a little bit. I knew as soon as I put it on, it reminded me of something, and what it reminded me of, one of my absolute faves, which is Cheap Date from ColourPop. That's kind of what this reminded me of. So let me go in here and try it. All right, I feel like that definitely did it. They definitely look more similar now. And honestly, I don't think all the mixing was necessary. Had I remembered about Cheap Date from the get-go, that would have been what I used. This is the look. I think I need more intensity on both sides, so I'm gonna darken those up a bit. You know what? I am proud of myself for figuring this out, because I was very nervous that they weren't gonna match at all, and they did. The only major difference I found between applying and everything, I do like the matte formula a lot of Pat McGrath. It feels so stiff, but it works so well. Like, you really get to place the matte exactly where you want them. Like, they're not flying around, they're not going anywhere you don't put them. You know what I mean? What I'm finding when I'm comparing side by side shimmers and glitters is that maybe a lot of companies do shimmers and glitters really well now. That maybe that wasn't the case 10 years ago, but it kind of is now. Because I feel like they're both really, really vibrant. I just feel like the mattes were easier to work with on the Pat McGrath side, in the sense that they really stay where you put them. So that is my main opinion as of right now at initial application. So I guess what I'm saying is, no, you don't need to spend $8 on the Pat McGrath palette if you have shades from other palettes that are good quality that would do the same thing for you. I'm gonna finish up my makeup, I'm gonna go about my day, and then I'll be back to do a check-in in about 5 hours, and then I will check again in the evening before bed, and we can compare to see if they both stayed equally vibrant. All right, guys, we have made it to the final vibe here. It is 12:15. We will see how these last throughout the day. I am, by the way, completely in natural lighting. So I love natural lighting when I can get it. So, of course, this is the side I created with a mix of different palettes, and this is the Pat McGrath side. I think I did a pretty good job like leveling them with the colors I had. I did go in at the very last minute and I took the Mothership Bronze Seduction palette because I needed this to be darker because this side was darker. And unfortunately with the new Pat McGrath palette, there isn't a shade that's significantly dark to really cause like a shadow. I did notice that like when you go to her website and stuff, they use a lot of black liner a lot of the time to darken it, and then they place shadows on top of it, which is kind of genius because then you don't really need a darker shade. But I knew I had the darker brown in the Bronze Seduction, so I figured it wasn't cheating because it was still Pat McGrath, you know what I mean? So Pat McGrath, mixture of other palettes. I'll see you guys in about 4 hours for first check-in, and I'll be back. Just wanted to do a quick check-in before I have no natural light left. I think there's still enough natural light in the room where it looks okay. So it is, all right, it is 4:33 p.m.-ish. So far, so good. I mean, honestly, if I didn't know because I applied them that they were different, I would have no idea. They're both equally as vibrant. The shimmer is equally as shimmery. I mean, both sides look really good. So this is the side where I used some Dose of Colors Friendcation and the Tati palette for the most part, with the inner corner being the ColourPop and then some Morphe shadow. And this is obviously the Pat McGrath side. Bottom lash line looks about the same on both sides. So right now at the 4-5-ish hour mark, they're both looking really good. They're both looking the same. They're both looking like they have the same exact quality to them. So, I don't know. Good, bad, maybe. I guess for those of you that don't want to spend $80 on a palette, because let me tell you, I probably wouldn't have. The question of is it worth it is starting to lean toward not really. Only time shall tell. Be right back. Hello guys, I am looking like a hot mess. I've looked in a mirror, I've analyzed them. I tried really hard to like the Pat McGrath side better, or to find reasons to like it more. And honestly, I just don't. I don't like it any less, don't get me wrong. I think they both look beautiful. They look almost identical. Like, they really do. Well, I guess what I'm saying is, unless you absolutely love the color story, let me just show it to you again. Unless you absolutely love this color story right here, and you don't have colors that could duplicate it in any way, unless that is your reason, then my conclusion is that you can easily get a beautiful eyeshadow look with palettes you probably already own. I wish I hadn't got rid of all my Morphe and BH Cosmetic palettes. I got rid of those pretty recently because honestly, they were just getting old, and I know a lot of teenage girls that would love to have those and play with them, and that would be so fun for them, and they would like really, really love them, where I felt like I had been neglecting them for far too long. And then of course I go to film this video and I really was like, dang it, I wish I had them, because those palettes are so big that I can guarantee I probably could have created an identical look with just one of those palettes. I'm thinking specifically of the 350O. I think it was called the 350O. One of my absolute favorites, and the formula on it was fantastic. All right, that's me rambling. But I guess what I'm saying is, I have that 350O, yeah, I know, I've been doing things, palette would have done the job, and probably because I primed, it would have been fine. So I guess that takes me back to another thing. Should I have not primed? Should I have like not primed either side and seen if that's where the quality really shows? Seen that it really, like, maybe the Pat McGrath ones like don't need to be primed. Maybe they would still be beautiful and vibrant and strong without any type of primer, and the other side maybe would have fallen off by then, or like by now, maybe. But honestly, I primed because that's what I've been doing for about a year now. I did a video a while ago about if primer makes a difference, and I concluded that primer makes a big difference. And so ever since, I pretty much prime every time I do shadows. That being said, I'm gonna zoom you in because I want you guys to check this out, because I want you guys to know I am not making this up. You're zoomed in. This is the Pat McGrath side, the Tati Beauty and other side. I'm gonna close my eyes here. You can see it because I missed it at first, And as I was examining and examining, I caught it. This eye has a crease right here. Do you guys see it? So, of the two eyes, the only one that has a slight crease, it's not a major crease, but it's a crease, is the Pat McGrath side. I'm not making it up. I wasn't trying to be biased. You guys know how much I appreciate a good quality, inexpensive item. I love quality, but I love getting a deal. So if I can get quality and a deal, I'm like, yes, that's where I'm at. I'm not saying Pat McGrath palettes, or this palette specifically, is not high quality. I think it definitely is. I guess what I'm saying is that, is it double the quality of everything else? No, clearly not. I have rambled on way too long, and honestly, this is not a trash video. This is don't bother, forget it, not worth it. If you love Pat McGrath, please, by all means, buy her collection. I've truly enjoyed the Pat McGrath items that I have gotten this year. This was the first year I was willing to jump in there and explore that way with Pat McGrath, and I've truly enjoyed them. I've enjoyed this palette. I've enjoyed the Bronze Seduction palette. I've enjoyed my quad, which I can't think of the name of it. All very high quality, and they are shades that I don't necessarily have elsewhere. So that's good too. But is it worth an $80 price tag? Honestly, I guess I would say no. Side by side, I guess I would say no. Wonderful evening. Go turn in your ballots. Look up your early voting dates. Don't forget to vote. I feel like every 4 years we're like, voter day! Like, this is the most important election ever. But I think this is the first time that I am just struggling. You know, I'm counting down the days till November 4th as if it was Christmas or something. And I'm trying not to do that because I don't want it to affect my mental health. We'll leave it that way. Alright guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching. Remember to spread love, not hate. Mwah. Bye.